typical traditional Dales farm.
You talked about dry stone wall in there, which is interesting to me. Now, I'm a big wildlife fan, which you know. How does wildlife fit into the kind of workings of a farm?
Well, our farm particularly is absolutely heaving with wildlife,
Great.
especially birds. We farm very much, we're in a countryside stewardship scheme, so we don't use any sort of artificial fertilisers, no nitrogen, anything like that. It's all rough muck and doing things as they've always been done. So we have a lot of ground nesting birds, so we've got curlews and lapwings, lots and lots of lapwings, and it's just teeming with bird life. It's absolutely wonderful. The dry stone walls pretty much form a real, well, they are what typify the landscape. That is what people think about when you see the Yorkshire Dales, but them within themselves actually form a habitat for animals, the nests in the walls. I found the other day a short-eared owl that had made a little nest in like a little rush bob at the bottom of the dry stone wall, because of course they provide shelter. But also, the way that they're constructed means that they give access through for the wildlife, because they've also got what we call smout holes, which are little gaps in the bottom of the wall, which let things go backwards and forwards. So I think, you know, not only do they serve a good purpose, but they look good. Far better than wire fences, you see.
Yeah, they're fab. And
Exactly.
to be honest, the picture that you've painted there is pretty idyllic. But this life must be pretty hard. I mean, what attracted you to it in the first place?
It's all James Herriot's fault. So it was a book. So isn't it funny how things did go full circle? In that, as a teenager, I was reading the James Herriot books and really immersing myself in his tales and stories and thinking to myself that that was a life that maybe, a time that had passed. And then I borrowed a book called Hill Shepherd, which was a coffee table book. I borrowed it from the library, and that really brought it all to life to me, because it had the pictures of the shepherds working in the Lake District and in the Yorkshire Dales, working with their dogs and gathering the sheep in. And the pictures in that book were so gritty and real. They really, I thought, oh, I can't believe it, that life that I've read about, there's characters, the people, landscape, all still exists.
So when did you move to the Dales then? When did you make that move?
Oh, it wasn't an instant thing. I literally had to start at the very bottom.
Okay.
And I mean very bottom. You know, I lived in a very brown caravan for quite a while. Moved from farmyard to farmyard, and started off contract shepherding, because with what I wanted to do, there was no fast track way into it. I wanted to be a shepherd, and obviously Huddersfield, which is where I come from, wasn't a hotbed of opportunity for a shepherd. I had to leave. So, again, a question of start at the bottom, not be scared to get your hands dirty, a lot of shoveling, and learning as you go along. There are some jobs, like I say, about dry stone walling and clipping. You have to actually do them to learn how to do them. You can read about it all you like, and you can think about it all you like, but you have to actually do it and practice. And that was it.
I think one of the reasons that I asked that question is because was that a few years ago, a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, say. What do you think literature does?
1 or 2 years ago. You don't know. You're trying to be polite here. Yes, that was 20 years
20 years ago.
Yes.
Brilliant. So
Yes.
we've got to think on it 20 years ago. But do you think literature still does that? Because I find that astonishing that you read a book and it had that huge an impact that your whole life changed because of it. Do you think literature still does that?
Yes. Absolutely, that book. I mean, it was immensely popular. It was like writing for the masses.